there's not going to be a story in you unless you beat these criminal charges, otherwise you really don't care. So, but until all of these things started happening and unfolding, there wasn't really an issue. But now afterwards, I mean, my partner's been followed home by police, I've been followed home by police, some of our other colleagues have been apprehended in traffic. If we get arrested for First Amendment violations, usually during a protest, those charges will be blown way out of proportion, outrageous. We had folks passing out literature around jury notification. Some of our colleagues who were in this movement with us to get anybody who was going in and out of the courthouse, potential jurors, judges, deputies, whoever. And Mitch Morrissey hit each one of those people with 9 felony counts of jury tampering. All those charges were later dismissed, but he put them through the motions of being arrested, going to court, having to find an attorney, all these other things. Knowing none of these charges were ever going to stick, it's still making them now forced to invest months of their lives, ruining other components of their lives, losing jobs, paying bail, whatever, everything that comes with incarceration, even if it's only in a city facility. And that's really what we've been dealing with. Yeah, for the most part. And I feel like was there another component?
No, that was just pretty much it. I respect that. I mean, you stepped up knowing what was going to happen, because you knew you had to.
And that's, there are many deterrents in this type of movement. Sometimes that's what it looks like. They don't want people to come together and mobilize. They don't want people thinking freely, coming together and potentially shifting historical norms. And they will try to break you in many different ways. So, but yeah, no, honestly, being at the front lines, again, like I said, it's been therapeutic for me because I've been able to do things with my narrative that some of my colleagues won't be able to do because they're no longer with. So come over here and do something.
I think you should go that direction first.
Okay.
That's a wise man right there.
I thought so too.
So, I have a comment and a question. My comment is I am getting closer and closer to making those parallels between the police department and the Catholic Church in terms of, is this sanctuary for sadism and pedophiles, and will we just continue to cover that up, right? So that startles me. I've seen some sociological research that suggests there's like 6 times the rate of psychopathy inroads to go into the police force. So perhaps one is drawn to that as opposed to, and gets cultivated into that environment that says, yes, it's okay to do this, and they're looking the other direction. So I see these parallels at that large scale level, and it's very difficult to ask people to step away from their faith, just like it's very difficult for people to challenge who good innocent white folks think, oh, these are the police and they're there to protect and serve. And it's not until many of us who have had the privilege, like the parents have, to be blind to that, to be unaware of that, to think that you must have done something wrong. You had to have, because that's not my reality. I don't get that happening to me, so it must be you. And so that disconnect is very problematic. So personally speaking, I want to know how, I've been curious to share how your parents came to terms with what happened to you, and did they question some of that ignorance of bliss? Let's not talk about these issues because we want a better future for our son. Did they grapple with did I prepare you to end the world or not? Did they have some guilt in that? Did they struggle with that kind of
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Mom, because I want to know if you want to answer this. That's no problem. I can tell you because, yeah, we've had plenty of conversations about it. Again, my dad having his father and grandfather in law enforcement roles.
that kind of business, yeah.
Exactly, and listening to the way that his household was when he grew up and how stern his father was and could be, you know, and then having to raise the question, well, you know, if he's treating people he loves like this, how do you think he's potentially treating somebody he could have a bias towards? And then so there were those conversations, and there were also conversations, you know, about, and I think a lot of that is the disenfranchisement, especially in those times growing up, my parents not wanting to necessarily have the charged conversation about how police are going to look at you and perceive you differently. Well, maybe not even fully having that understanding themselves. Like my son may be pulled over and beat me out of his ex specifically because of the way that he looked. He's doing absolutely nothing wrong. Those are grotesque and harsh realities, yet realities nonetheless. And at the time, we didn't have much substantive conversation around those kinds of interactions. But we have now. I mean, my parents organize at the front lines with me. We do things all the time, demonstrations, so on and so forth. But no, it's been difficult. There's been a lot, and I mean, it's strengthened our family connection at the same time because we've had to work through a lot of these injustices that I've suffered that they never had to experience. You want to add to that?
Yeah, this is what always happens to me. I always say I'm never going to speak publicly because I hate it and I'm not good at it. And then I get so mad that I always do. It took me years to process this. Absolutely years. I was going through my own PTSD because someone I love almost died. And I was, right when you were talking about, I didn't believe this could, it never occurred to me that this could happen, so that's why we didn't have the conversation. Now, I'm a very avid activist online and writing. That's how I do it. And it's my goal. I just started making myself talk about it to everybody I ran into because I wanted people to know. We were real concerned the first few years that these cops would never even be exposed, that they were going to get away with it. So I just started telling everybody, and it's not in my nature. I'm much more reclusive than that. And now I'll just tell anybody, and because people need to know what's going on. Do you have anything to add? Or you're good.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up an interesting point, you know, being able, and I think this is part of the obstacle of, you know, finally having these kinds of charged conversations, having dialogues on campus, in our own personal circles, etc. But it's difficult, right, to grow up with an ideology and then have somebody who may not be that deeply connected to you, you may not have had that much of a lengthy relationship with, challenge something you believe, right? And like a lot of the time, conflict can be, I mean, that word of conflict normally brings the idea of war and physical altercation, when really it doesn't have to be anything more than, say, an intellectual conversation that leads to peaceful resolution. So being able to challenge your comfort zone, and you'll probably have an opportunity to do it before the night is over. You know, something comes up that you disagree with, being able to voice your opinion on that particular subject that you're disagreeing with, and then leaving there without the burden of thinking, oh man, if I would have only stood up and said something, they may have learned something and I would be feeling this way, because there are personal battles we have to battle with all the time. And the more you do that, the more comfortable that will become. And that personal battle could be something as simple as laughing at a racist joke, stereotypical joke, to combating the person that's into a conflict. Yeah. Over here in the back.
So I see.
You've forgotten about you.
So I see that it's stated that you're a father. I'm just kind of curious as to how you feel the right way to approach having a discussion about police brutality and the fact that you can be targeted because of your race, and how you feel like you're going to approach that, and when you're going to approach that.
It's a very good question. I don't know if folks are familiar with Jessica Hernandez, LGBTQ community, shot and killed by Denver police in Northeast Parkville a little over a year ago. 17 years old. Small child. Parents called PD in 2003, hoping they could respond because he's having a mental impairment. He was having a breakdown to some degree. 11 years old, shot and killed by the police. You know, so the idea that this can happen to our youth in middle school, you know, 11-year-old can be killed by police if by police. 19-year-olds can be pulled over and beaten by police. And we have to have these substantive conversations with our younger generations at a very early age. You don't want to overload, I think, the harsh reality that you have to, it's like building a structure, a compound. You have to lay some sort of a foundation. And we'll be doing Know Your Rights training with Maya as soon as she's able to really leave the house on her own. As soon as she's going off into the world, every time I leave the house or she'll leave the house. And Jessica Hernandez is still a couple blocks from our house too, so I'm raising Maya in the same community and the same officers that I've had negative interactions with and have proven to be capable of harming young people at a very early age, wondering that if she leaves, will she be coming home at the end of the day? I think that teaching your kids that, you know, if an officer stops you and digging in your pockets, your purse, and your bag, and you're just sitting there quiet, is actually consent in a court of law, because your silence equals consent, is a problem. You know, there are going to be things you're going to have to teach your kids for them to be able to navigate these types of interactions to the best possible outcome. And, you know, the things that we can prepare them for are just that, preparation. You know, it's not preventative in the sense that no matter what I teach her, that would prevent her from experiencing something so horrific as the experience that I had to encounter, or that Jessica Hernandez last week. But at the same time, arming her with tools to help navigate herself out of a situation, or put herself, should she get into a situation, in a much better position to be able to handle it moving forward. Like if she's sustained an injury, she'll have to document those right away, write her own personal narrative of whatever happened, whether injuries were sustained or not. As soon as she gets to paper, you know, bringing her, even learning to challenge these kinds of things in school. You know, whether, I think the miseducation will be there around most likely Thanksgiving, for example, but other things like that, whether it's about police interactions in Black and brown communities, but just being able to critique things as she flows.